Love is not confined to hormones. You and I surely have to agree with this.
No, I disagree, bro, really.
So if you are truly to adopt a materialistic paradigm, you are confined to hormones.
Consciousness is the big objection to materialism. It's the thing that screams out that there's something more than the mere material.
I think I can explain it in a materialistic way, in a scientific way, because it's just five senses that are biology, because it's the way we can perceive the reality in an empirical way, and chemistry. It's the perfect mix. That's what I think, bro.
No, I disagree.
Now, I'm not oblivious to the science. I understand the biology, the chemistry, the psychology. We can measure the oxytocin and dopamine levels when people fall in love. We can study bonding behaviors in parents and children. But let's be honest, none of those things are love itself. They're just the physical and behavioral effects of love. The scientific method is limited to what is observable, testable, and repeatable.
It takes more than just science to explain love. That's why you have a lot of incels, nerdies that just can't get the girlies. Okay, I'm finished. Thank you.
Yeah, that's true, because we are really complex. We are a complex machine, but it's difficult to accept. But yes, love, fear, hatred, it's all made by hormones. So it's complicated. We don't know exactly why or how, and that's probably also because our cultural heritage, maybe in some reason, our education. But yeah, everyone is different, but we are so complicated that maybe we can't comprehend that. But yes, also love that seems, so, or the fear that seems so a pure sensation.
Time out. No, I want to say love does not come from chemicals. Chemicals are merely a byproduct. It's one dimension of love.
Have you ever pondered the true nature of love? Is it merely an emotion, a chemical reaction in our brains, or something more profound? Philosophers have long debated the essence and significance of love. Plato viewed it as a quest for beauty and truth, suggesting that love drives us toward higher ideals. On the other hand, existentialists like Sartre saw love as a complex interplay of freedom and dependency. Could love then be a mirror reflecting our deepest desires and fears? Perhaps love is not just a feeling, but a fundamental aspect of human existence, shaping our connections and sense of purpose. What do you think?
It's the only dimension we can observe. But love is beyond more than what we can observe.
If they make you feel wanted, it's romance. If they make you feel safe, then it's love. If they only show up when it's fun, it's romance. If they keep showing up when it's hard, it's love. If they flatter your ego, it's probably romance. If they challenge your bullshit, then it's love. If they're terrified of losing you, it's romance. If they're willing to let you go, if that's the best thing for you, then it's love. If they only want to see you at your best, then it's romance. If they accept you at your worst, it's love. Romance comes and goes, but love is steady. One excites you, the other nourishes you. Make sure you're in the relationship that you think you're in.
This is just a simple fact. Love is not confined to hormones. You and I surely have to agree with this.
No, I disagree, bro, really, because I think that it's complicated.
No, wait, come out. If it's just hormones, it's not complicated. So you can't say it's just hormones, but then also say it's complicated. It's not complicated. If it's just hormones, it's just hormones. If it's complicated, well, you agree with me. You can't say both of them at the same time.
No, but of course, it's not just hormones. It's a mix of things. It's of course mainly the hormones, but also the sight of the people. So we are all different and we all have different tastes. So say also not only the sight, the aesthetical of a person, but also the way of thinking, the way of acting. They are all different things that our brain unconsciously develop, and then also with a mix of hormones, there's love for these things.
Okay, you mentioned sight. So we've got hormones, and then we've got our senses. And it becomes a question of what came first, the chicken or the egg? Well, you're saying that it's all mostly hormones, but it's complicated because we got things that are leading to these hormones. And in that, you are agreeing with me. I'm saying that the hormones are not the beginning of where love comes from. It is merely a byproduct of our five senses: our sight, our smell, our touch, our hearing. All of these things, these five senses, is what allows us to engage and absorb whether or not we're going to fall in love. And then when that starts to happen, then you have the chemicals. So when I'm telling you that love cannot be explained with mere hormones, we cannot explain love with hormones alone. I mean, surely you have to agree with that.
No, yeah, I agree that we can't explain that only with hormones. But also the five senses are part of our biology.
But that is the only thing that we can truly observe. Everything else, when it comes to questionnaires and polls, these are all anecdotal at the end of the day. The only thing that we can truly observe when it comes to love are the chemicals. So if you are truly to adopt a materialistic paradigm, you are confined to hormones.
Consciousness is the big objection to materialism. It's the thing that screams out that there's something more than the mere material. Even just when you have an average dream, it's fascinating to think what's going on there. You've got images in your head. You can close your eyes and you can picture things. You can see colors. You can see shapes in your head. Like, where are those shapes? I spoke about this recently on YouTube, and people kind of, in my comment section, they really didn't like this idea. And maybe I'm just getting something wrong here, but I was talking about how if everything you experience, if everything in the brain is reducible to the material, when I close my eyes and see a triangle, there really is a triangle there. I can see it. It's there. And I think, well, where is that triangle? The materialist has to say it's reducible to just somewhere in your brain. But if I cut open your brain, I'm not going to find a triangle inside of it, right? And people thought that this was a bit silly because it's kind of like if you cut open a computer, you're not going to find the thing that it's displaying on the screen. But you still have the screen displaying the triangle. In your mind, you just have the mind. There is no interface. It's just the computer. It's as if the computer itself, somehow there was a triangle in the computer's own first-person subjective experience. Like, where is that triangle that you can picture in your head? Where the hell is it?
Well, also the five senses are biological, so are biology, because they permit us to sense the reality as an empirical way. It's biology plus chemistry.
I'm not disputing that. I'm saying that these five senses are subjective. Your five senses are going to be different from my five senses. What I view as attractive is going to be different from what you view as attractive. It's all subjective. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Of course, and for this reason, if I love a girl, maybe you love a completely different girl. Also for your personal tastes. Yeah, of course. Otherwise, we will love all the same girl. So.
Well, no, that happens to be the case. That's why you got all kinds of love triangles. But what I'm saying is these five subjective senses come before the hormones. And this you cannot discount.
Yeah, but I agree with that.
Then you agree with me. It's not hormones. It's not simple. It is complicated. It's not something that you can simply trivialize down to hormones. Because before the hormones are activated, it has to go through the five subjective filters of every single human. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I agree. Yes, but
if you then agree, then now you are saying that materialism cannot account for love. It cannot account for near-death experiences. You cannot explain love with materialism. If materialism is the main paradigm in which you use to make sense of the universe, you are limited in your scope.
Imagine prisoners chained in a dark cave, seeing only shadows on the wall. Plato, the ancient Greek philosopher, used this allegory to explore the difference between perception and reality. In his story, the prisoners represent people trapped in ignorance, only aware of the shadows cast by objects they cannot see, manipulated by unseen people in front of a fire, deciding their reality. One day, a prisoner is freed and discovers the outside world. At first, the light of of the sun is blinding, but gradually he begins to see the true forms of the objects casting the shadows. He realizes that the shadows in the cave were just illusions. When the freed prisoner returns to tell the others, they reject his truth and cling to the familiar shadows.
No, but it's possible because I can say that is a mix of biologic senses and chemistry. Yes, that's the way. This is the thing. So because the five senses, it's biology. The hormones, it's chemistry. So five senses plus chemistry of hormones. For all the emotions is like that. For the fear, we perceive fear by our five senses. Then fear is more primitive, so it's easier to observe also in a medical way. When we experience fear, it is our most primitive sensation, emotion. We have studied that there is adrenaline, then the amygdala, that is one part of our brain, start push and push on the hormones. Okay, there are particular hormones for the fear, particular hormones for the melancholy, so for sadness. It's all studied in a medical way, and I think I can explain it in a materialistic way, in a scientific way, because it's just five senses that are biology, because it's the way we can perceive the reality in an empirical way, and chemistry. It's the perfect mix. That's what I think, bro.
No, I disagree.
Let me start with the main problem. Naturalism, by definition, says that all of reality can be explained through nature, through physical matter, energy, and the scientific method. But here's the challenge. How does that framework account for something like love? Now, I'm not oblivious to the science. I understand the biology, the chemistry, the psychology. We can measure the oxytocin and dopamine levels when people fall in love. We can study bonding behaviors in parents and children. We can even watch which regions of the brain light up during attraction or affection. But let's be honest, none of those things are love itself. They're just the physical and behavioral effects of love. The scientific method is limited to what is observable, testable, and repeatable. It can measure the mechanics, but it cannot capture the essence. Think about it. When a mother sacrifices her own safety for her child, is that just dopamine? When a husband stays faithful to his wife through decades of hardship, is that just a chemical survival mechanism? When someone says, "I would die for you," do we really reduce that to molecules firing in the brain? If naturalism is true, then love is nothing more than a useful illusion, a trick of evolution to keep our species alive. But if love is an illusion, why do we all live as though it is the most real and most important thing in life? This is where the Newton and Einstein analogy comes in. Both of them could describe gravity with mathematical precision. They gave us the how, but neither of them could answer the why. In the same way, naturalism can describe how love operates in the brain or in evolution, but it cannot explain why love exists at all, or why it carries such transcendence. And this creates a strange spectrum among unbelievers. On one end, you have the strict naturalist who reduces love down to chemicals and instincts. On the other end, you have the hippie who declares with passion that love is the ultimate truth. But here's the tragedy. Both are missing the mark. The naturalist denies love's depth by reducing it. The hippie denies love's source by abstracting it. Paul actually foresaw this in Romans 1. They exchanged the truth about God for a lie and worshipped and served created things rather than the Creator. In other words, they want the fruit without acknowledging the root. But if love is real, and deep down we all know it is, then the explanation has to come from beyond the natural. And that's where God enters the picture. Because what doesn't fall short is God. God is love. And because we're created in His image, we as humans have the capacity to experience both love and free agency. As John Lennox once said, atheism is like cutting off the very branch you're sitting on. It cannot explain love, consciousness, or even the reality of truth itself. In fact, atheism shoots itself in the foot. And you don't want to be that guy, do you?
You are saying the five senses is biology, so therefore it's still materialism. No, like I said, yes, you can engage in scientific documentation of the five senses to help explain love, but at the end of the day, it's all anecdotal, it's all subjective, and it's not really of any significance. I mean, in the same way that the unbeliever that would say, oh, this miracle or that miracle is anecdotal, it doesn't really matter. In the same way, what you're saying saying is the same thing. I hope you followed that because I forgot what I just said.
Yeah, I followed. Yeah, but it's the same. We love different people because we are all different. We are all different because our genome is different. Nobody is the same. Also, the twins, the perfect twins, the homozygotes, they also have a different genome. So we are all different. And for this reason, we also love different people. And we got our personal taste in love. We got our personal ideology in politics. We got our personal opinion on religion, just like we are debating now. So I can explain this in a materialistic way because we all have a different genome. But I don't know if you want to answer me to this point, but I wanted to go with another point if you want to move from this topic. I don't know if you want to.
I'd like to respond to this one.
Okay.
Last thing. For some reason, I'm thinking about Maxim magazine and Cosmopolitan and all of these women journalists and writers that use certain metrics to formulate a theory on how to explain love, how to find the right man. All of these things are out there, and we acknowledge that they exist, but the only thing that we can truly observe with cold, hard metrics are the chemical reactions. Everything else, when it comes to questionnaires, this is all subjective and anecdotal. Why am I talking about this? Damn it, I keep doing this. I'm so sorry. I lost myself again.
No, you're welcome. But just move to another topic, okay? Because I wanted to make this question to you also before, but I didn't. Okay, this is my main point. I think that this is my main point on a contradiction between science and the Bible. In the Bible, I think in the Ancient Testament, okay, I think it is said that the earth is the center of the universe and the sun goes around the earth. This is said in the Bible. So it can be...
No, that's not true. That's just the belief of the people in history, their interpretation. They thought that the earth was the center of the universe, but there's nothing in the Bible that says that. So what you're saying is just not true. The Bible does not say that the earth was the center of the universe.
His work in me was such a show, like superpowers imbued in me.